hello, welcome back to another installment, the second of my 30 videos in 30-day challenge. Just left the gym. Quite weird walking around talking into a phone, everybody staring at me like I'm nuts, but you know, I suppose a lot of people do it this day and age, so I shouldn't look too crazy with a bit of luck. What a glorious day. What an absolutely stunning. I love this kind of weather. This is my kind of weather. I'm very much a sun worshipper in a lot of ways. I just think everybody's happier, aren't they, in the sunshine? Everybody's feeling good, everybody's smiling, everybody, you know, dressed nicer. Winter's just miserable. It's cold, nobody wants to go out. I just hibernate in the winter, if I'm completely honest. I found my car now. I did actually record a video on the way over here, but my phone was up in the dashboard of the car and it overheated in the sun, so yeah, lost a lot. Have to start again. Interesting selection of CDs on the dashboard of that car. Look at that. Crazy. So I'm just going to make this a quick one. I've got to pop over to the supermarket now and let's just plug this in. Excuse the mess of the car. As you can see, I don't drive anything terribly flash. It is what it is. It's a little runaround car that I've got. A little Say It Leon TDI, for those of you that like cars. It's got about 200 horsepower. It's reasonable. Oh, it's a good little daily motor. I've got my caddy van that I've put a lot of time and effort into, and that's my pride and joy. It's very fast, very fast. So, a quick little video on why I got into junk removal, I guess. Make sure I've not got a nipple slip there, excuse me. Gym attire is not the most covering, is it? So, yeah, it all sort of goes back to when I first came over here. I came over here at the tender age of 15. Funnily enough, because of cars. You get your license when you're 15 in New Zealand, and there's a lot of high-powered cars out there. You don't need car insurance. So, yeah, a lot of high-speed cars in young people's hands, and I'd been driving for a number of years, from the age of 12, and I drove a bit too fast, and a few of my friends died in car accidents. Loaded, you know, that sort of age group. There was a lot of deaths on the roads. So my mum sort of decided to ship me off to the UK to see if my dad could do a better job. I never really knew my dad. He moved away when I was 2, back over to the UK. So I basically met him for the first time at the age of 15 at Heathrow Airport. He had, at the time, a reasonably large removal company, furniture removal company, second largest commercial company in Birmingham. Half a dozen big trucks, loads of staff, big warehouse, and he put me to work doing that pretty much straight away, which at the time, you know, I was a young, arrogant, cheeky 15-year-old that hadn't really lifted his finger much, and especially in terms of work. You know, I just wanted to drive cars and surf and ride BMXs and listen to rock music, so I learned a lot of lessons very quickly, and being the boss's son didn't really help, even though the staff knew my dad a lot more than I did. Yeah, didn't get any slack cut for me. In fact, I had it worse than most people. Thrown in amongst all these big burly removal men that just didn't give a shit. You know, if I was cheeky, I got a slap for it. I learned a few lessons pretty quick. So thrown into the world of removals, and after a period of time, a lot of me pushing back against it all and resenting it, I gave in and decided to get good at it, and I became very good at it, to the point that a number of years later, my father and me, he'd moved to Scotland by then, and I'd moved up there. This was a good 10 years later or so. We became quite well known in the industry for moving antiques and specialist bits and bobs. That's terrible parking. Look at that. Yeah, literally just. It's just park like that to go to the gym. That's terrible. Anyway, I digress. This was always sort of something that I'd done, and I joined the army at the age of 19 to try something else, try a different path. It's a whole nother story in itself. But again, I was in the Guards, the Irish Guards, so there was a bit of an elitism drummed into me, and we were brainwashed that we were the best, we were the Queen's troops, and first into conflicts around the world, and the Guards are very elite infantry. You've got the Paras, the Marines, the Guards as the top three, in no particular order. The top three, I'd say normal infantry fighting unit, but none of them are normal. But I'm under the SAS, which is completely different. So I got good at that. I've done a few things in between, always sort of done removals as a bit of a fallback. And then about 10 years ago, I got a job. I was the first employee of a new start company doing junk removal, owned by two very, very wealthy men who had plans to dominate the country, become nationwide very quickly. I mean, in my interview, I was told that they could lose money for 3 years and still grow to be nationwide. Very, very wealthy. And with wealth like that comes a lot of power. I was promised the world. You help us build this up, you'll get rewards here, there and everywhere. And I worked my little backside off for those guys, and it didn't end well after about a year. I don't need to really go into too much more detail, but I mean, I lost my job, and that day, I'm man enough to admit, I actually cried. I loved that job. It suited me so well. All the skills that I've had from removals, all the skills that I had from the army, I was able to combine them all. It had the aspects of removals that I enjoyed, and none of the aspects that I didn't enjoy, because there was a few things I didn't enjoy about it. And so I decided to start up after that for myself. I thought, I can do this just as well, if not better. But I had no money, and with no money, you don't get very far. So I bought a van, and that company was called Pink Clearance. There's a method in my madness. I will no doubt go on to my marketing ploy at another later date, but it taught me a lot. I wasn't ready. I gave it a go though. You've got to just get out there and do it. Like these videos, you've just got to get out there and do it rather than think too much. You can think all you want, and sometimes thinking can give you that little dopamine hit that makes it seem like it's rewarding, and you do need to think about things, but at some point you've just got to go for it, haven't you? And sacrifice any short-term dopamine hits for a long-term gain. So that lasted a small amount of time. In the end, my van actually snapped in half. Yeah, so that put an abrupt end to that one. And then I got a job putting posters on billboards for a number of years. Sort of liked it, sort of didn't. Nobody was standing over me. I don't work well for others in a way of I don't deal with office politics very well. I don't deal with bullshit very well. I'm not a fan of it. I don't stand for it. And if you're getting me to do work for the sake of work, chances are after a period of time I'm going to rebel against that, and it doesn't end up good for anybody. This is why I'm better suited to work for myself. I don't have to deal with that kind of level of crap, you know. Working under assholes that are just, they like the sound of their own voice, and nah, I can't be dealing with that. With that job I had an element of freedom, and it was only every other week, so week on, week off, so I had a free week every other week, and I did that for a couple of years. Again, got good at it, and to the point where I sort of had enough, and I decided to just go back into junk removal. I had a week every other week to give it a go, and I sold the vehicles that I had at the time that I'd taken a long time to accumulate and saved up for, and sold them all and bought my tipper van and went out there and did it. Landed a contract with the UK's largest junk removal company, who had pretty much just gone from having their own... Yeah, I'm going to have to do a bit of a ninja edit here. I ran out of memory. So yeah, like I was saying, largest junk removal company, landed a contract with them. They just pretty much got rid of all their own vehicles and depots around the country, and moved into becoming more of a waste broker. So they would deal their work out, subcontracted out to various companies around the country, and we very quickly became pretty much their best, one of their best, at least in the top three. And they did a lot of kitchens, bathrooms, a lot of big household names they contracts for, insurance work, a lot of things like that. So I quietly, for the first couple of years, built up using the work from them rather than anything on the commercial side, on the private side. You know, we do mostly private work now. I didn't really want the company that I first got into junk removal with having wind that I was in the game, because they had a lot of money and power, and I'd seen them take out smaller companies in the past pretty much pretty ruthlessly, and I didn't want that to happen to me. So I figured if I just build up quietly in the background, and we did so. Took on staff, took on premises, got more vehicles, grew far too quick. I wasn't ready. Let down by staff over time. Learned a lot of lessons, a lot of pain along the way, a lot of mistakes on my part, other people's parts. Mistakes are great, you know. You learn from them, don't you? Well, mistakes are great if you learn from them. If you don't, then yeah, they're not that great. So yeah, quietly built up in the background, and then, as a lot of you know, I threw my back out quite severely. Couldn't walk for 2 weeks. Bulging disc that was about to be snapped by my vertebrae and fall down my spinal cord and spinal column, and where it landed depended on the level of handicap that I would have been left with if it had happened. So quite a scary time, you know. I was, if I'd sneezed the wrong way within a sort of 2-3 week period, I could have ended up in a wheelchair quite easily. So I used that period of time to learn about social media. I figured that I had staff and I had to keep them working, and so I sort of devised a way of, well, first of all, I thought I might start a man in a van company, like a white glove man in a van service. I thought I might not be able to do junk removal myself because of the impact of it, and if I could keep the lads working with that, and then maybe start a sideline business. I called it Move It Monkeys. I actually pretty much started it apart from actually going out there and doing it. I built a website, I built a Facebook page, I had logos done, I registered it, I had it all ready to go, and then I decided that actually no, I wanted to concentrate on junk removal, and just try and fire as much work at the lads as possible. So I learned about social media marketing, disregarded everything that I'd learned and did it my own way, and here we are. Nearly 33,000 followers. And you know, the crazy thing about that number is 95% of you are local. The other 5% are around the country that like our ethos, and a lot of, pretty much every junk removal company in America follows us. Yeah, it's crazy. So that's pretty much how I got into it. I had a background in furniture removals. I was very good at it. The army background, I was very good at that, and I had an opportunity with a company that failed me, and I figured I could do it just as well, if not better, and I do it better. And I combined all of my skills, and here's the outcome. Here I am, Junk Monkeys, the nation's most loved junk removal company. So that's how I got into it, and I love it. I absolutely love it. It's the perfect job for me. I'm out and about every day. I meet new people. I'm driving around. I love driving. I love the challenge of some jobs, you know, like packing the van. It's like Tetris. It is literally like 3D Tetris, and it can be a challenge to get everything in. I love being charming with customers. It's, you know, having that banter, having that energy, just bouncing off people's energy. It's ace. I love being outside. I love the fact that Darian works alongside me most of the time. You know, a lot of couples couldn't work together, but God, we work so. She's good. I don't get impressed easily. I've had some good people work for me, you know. I've had some terrible people. I've had some good people, but nobody was quite the whole package. Darian is the female version of me, and she understands it from the very basic concept to the most detailed aspect. And she's a grafter. You know, those of you who have seen her on a job, you will attest that the girl can do some stuff. She's only small, she's only tiny, but she can move some things, and she puts everything into it, and I just love her even more for it, if I'm honest. But yeah, we get to spend our days together, and because we've got a small family, we don't really get to have that much us time. So when we go to work, it is our us time in a lot of ways, and I love my job. I love it. You know, it keeps me busy. It keeps me happy. So that's enough rambling for now. I've got to get to the supermarket. I've got to get home. Darian is going to go out in the van and pick up some junk from her brother's house. So, excuse the lip slip. I've got to get back for her and watch the boys while she does that. My little TDI smoker. By the way, if you love cars, feel free to get in touch with what you drive, and yeah, if you drive something cool, something fast, I'd like to see it. I'd like to hear from it, hear about it. My little caddy that I have, it's a very much a sleeper, in the sense of it doesn't look like much from the outside, but that thing, it's 360 horsepower. It eats Porsches for fun. So, and nobody expects it because it's a van. So, perfect. Anyway, I've got to go. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed it. Again, give me some likes. Facebook's algorithms, YouTube's algorithms, they all want to see that feedback. They want to see that people are enjoying it, so that they can spread it around to more people. I don't know if you know much about Facebook and the way it works, but there's not much organic reach these days. A lot of people have to boost things and pay for coverage, which is something that I don't really like to do. I like to have people share my content as much as possible, and reach people organically. So again, share the videos on any of the platforms you see this on. Subscribe if you're on YouTube, like it. It all helps to get the word out there, and it gives me encouragement to do more, basically. So thanks for watching. signing off again, and I will be in touch tomorrow. Adios.